All right, guys, so in this video, Matt is going to spill all the juicy details of all the crazy guest stories that he's had renting Myrtle Beach Oceanfront Condos, those short-term vacation rentals right here at the sand dunes and a handful of the other resorts in our market. He's going to tell you every crazy story that you've ever wanted to hear and every nightmare guest, and also how he beats Airbnb and the guest from cheating him out of his well-earned money. All right, Matt, so real quick, let's just talk real fast about, hold on, I gotta find my place. Okay, so Matt, how do you navigate financing for short-term vacation rental properties, especially being an out-of-state investor?
Well, so, you know, I am a mortgage lender.
Come on.
So
I knew it was coming.
You know, before it was a little difficult finding lenders back when I started 8 years ago to find lenders that would lend on these condotels. And I realized there was a niche for it. So then I did my research. I found investors that would do it. I financed my condotels. And then once I had enough condotels to make my passive income, I decided to make the leap into the mortgage lending business. And that was the first thing on my plan is, all right, I need to be a lender on condotels because it's hard to get financing there.
Yeah, exactly. So you found a great niche that you could jump into and hopefully build a competitive advantage and hopefully take over that market. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people reach out to me wanting to know more about the financing and also about rentals. So it's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, exactly. So basically you've got the experience and the know-how on top of being able to get people financed.
Right.
Yep. So are there any creative financing methods that you've used at all?
So, you know, a lot of the stuff I do is DSCR, basically debt service credit ratio. As long as it's going to cash flow, you're pretty much golden.
Yeah. So guys, what the DSCR is basically it's a loan where, you know, you have to have a threshold credit score, of course. However, you don't have to show tax returns or bank statements or anything so long as the property cash flows positively.
Right. And besides that, a lot of the investors here, I will do a cash out refi on a property that they currently own, use those funds, move them over so they can buy another one. So that way they're buying properties with no money out of pocket. Guys,
you're hearing it right here from Matt Freaks. He's letting you know how to do it. You know, doing HELOCs and stuff like that, that is a very, very viable strategy that a lot of people use to pay that down payment money on that next purchase.
Right.
Yep. Okay, so real quick, talk about being out of state though. Is there any, you know, is there any particular challenges or does technology just pretty much level that playing field? It's not even a big deal.
Yeah, technology is great. Like, I don't feel like, you know, basically years ago it would have been tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, now
super easy.
You can always find somebody, especially if your guests in your condo, if they need a mop, right?
Yeah.
You can Instacart them a mop in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and you're only paying a little fee.
Super easy, super simple. Right. Technology's made it super easy, guys. Okay, and I often tell people about that. You know, I have people that are concerned to get into the short-term rental game because they're like, well, I'm super busy. A lot of the investors that I work with are super busy. They're small business owners just like us. They have a full-time job, and they're investing in their free time with the capital that they're making from their full-time profession or small business. Now, Matt, can you speak to how not time-consuming oceanfront condos are?
So at first, after I bought my first one, I said, oh my God, there's no way I can get a second one. Like you said, technology has made it easier because there's an iCal. Your cleaners have a program that syncs with your iCal to automate things, and I use a third-party program that really helps me automate things.
Yep. And do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, it's HostAway.
HostAway, right there. Third-party program makes it simple and easy. And I was talking to another investor recently, and basically he uses a service called Hostiva.
Yep.
They charge 10%, and he doesn't really do anything with the rental. They do all of it for him.
They do everything, yes.
You know, I mean, like, I don't know how much easier that could be as far as a short-term vacation rental, I mean, 10% is not a lot of your profit, and they're doing all the work.
That's right.
Yep. All right. So you obviously manage your properties yourself, right?
Yep.
Can you speak to, hiring a property manager versus do-it-yourself management?
Well, so yeah, it depends on how much time you have. I do the math. I want that profit. So I, manage it. Not only that, yes, there's amazing property management companies here in Myrtle. I can name off a couple, but they, they can help you increase your profit. I'm pretty good at it. I've been doing it for a long time, so I know the little niches, little things to do to increase the rentals.
Yep. Is there any tips that you'd share?
Well, so one of my things that I like to butt up my reservations, right? Like I don't want a weird Monday, Tuesday gap. So a lot of times, if I have somebody check it out on Sunday or check it out on Monday, that Sunday or Monday, I'm going to drop the price for that one day with a 4 or 5 day minimum to try to make somebody, who wants the window that I'm offering fall in that category, fall in that window.
So that way you don't have any wasted space, basically.
Right.
It's always being rented.
And that's because, somebody explained it to me before, on an airplane, when the airplane takes off, if there's an empty seat, that seat has zero value to it.
Yeah.
And so
they're flying all that fixed cost, and they're spending that money,
right?
But they're not making anything for it.
So I stay full. Is at what rate varies.
Yeah.
But I stay full.
But you've done the math, and it's better to offer a cheaper product and stay with bookings back to back than it is to just shoot for.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, okay.
You always have the clients. I had a gap, a 2-day gap. It was a Sunday, Monday.
Yep.
I dropped the price. The guests who went in there, they broke the TV, shattered the TV. I was only going to make like $80 on their stay when the dust settles. But I have started claiming and charged back to the guests through Airbnb, so I'm just waiting on them to pay for that then. But overall, most of the time, yes, you usually.
Now, in your experience, do you have a lot of vandalism?
No. It's because.
Can you count on one hand, over the last 8 years, how many issues you had like that?
I can name off one time, and it wasn't even. They weren't even mad. The guests weren't mad at me. The guests were mad at the resort. They were doing drugs in the unit. The resort escorted them out. I didn't even know about it, but apparently, as on their way out there, they decided to grab their eggs and just throw the eggs all in the unit.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah. So the cleaners cleaned it up. I had to touch up some paint areas. Like that.
Yeah, that's not too bad. So in all the years that you've been doing this, only one vandalism case.
Right. You always have one-off cases, like a guy fell off a stool and his head went through the wall. But they paid for it.
Does that happen all the time?
Not often, but it's happened. I've got stories.
All right, come on, share some of these stories. I want to hear this. So a guy literally went through the wall.
Yeah, his head went through the wall. Well, so they tried to cover it up. Luckily, so I had the owner's.
Did they slide the picture over it or something?
No. So it was at the breakfast bar, right? I guess it was after a night of drinking. The guy kind of passed out, fell out. His head went through the wall. So the next day,
literally through the wall.
Oh yeah. So the next day, they took a Budweiser box, right, and they went into the owner's closet. So in the owner's closet, I had caulk. I had.
They did not.
Oh yeah, I had drywall mud. I had paint in there. So they took a Budweiser box and caulked it to the wall, and then painted over it. They mudded it, painted it. Luckily, a good cleaning company they noticed it and said, "Hey, this wall wasn't like this before," and it just looked a little weird. And
So you basically came in there and kind of put your hand through the wall.
Oh yeah. Luckily they caught it because,
Now, did you charge them anything? Or?
Oh yeah, they apologized. I was coming down that week anyway, so I was like, hey, don't worry, I'm gonna patch it up, but it's gonna be $100.
Yeah, you got to pay for that.
Right.
Any other kind of crazy stories?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Let's see. Off the top of my head, no. But oh, there was so one of the units, the guests checked out, the cleaners went in, and there was blood everywhere. The mattress was saturated with blood. The blood splatter on the ceiling, blood splatter on the wall. We called the police. The police went out. They roped off the place. They were treating it as a homicide, even though there wasn't a body there, but there was a lot of blood. And so they tracked down the guests who stayed in there, and apparently it was something that happened outside the condo. I guess he got stabbed at the bar or something.
Get out.
And then he slept in the bed, but somehow I don't know how it ended up everywhere. But he was okay.
The guy was okay though.
He was okay.
Dude, that's a little bit freaky.
Yeah.
Right?
So the guests had to pay for all the
no doubt
everything, but
so a handful of stories.
yeah.
Handful of stories. Vandalism isn't something to really be concerned about. Stuff is going to happen from time to time. Somebody might slip and fall and go through a wall. At the same token, you just have the people pay for it.
Right.
Yeah, it's super easy. All right, management and operations. So again, property management company versus do it yourself. For you, it makes a lot more sense to just do it yourself,
Right.
even though you are out of state.
Yeah.
So how many times a year would you think that you come to take care of your units?
You know, it really, I come down because I want to. Like, you know, here recently I've been very busy, so I haven't been down in 6 months. You know, I didn't have to come down. I came down just because the family's coming down later this week. So I figured I'd come down early, get some work done in the condo. Yeah. But in reality, you know, I think I could manage it without coming down.
Wow.
And, you know, I have the connections. You know, if I need renovations done for them, people come. You know, if not, I'm resourceful, right?
Yeah,
there's social media networking. You know, social media, you can reach out and find people that can do anything for you down here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. So, how do you handle emergencies, and what kind of emergencies have you had in the past?
So, originally I was available 24/7. I'm kind of at a point where, in my listing, I go to bed at midnight. I wake up at 6 a.m. If you have a problem within that window, figure it out.
Yeah.
I would rather not lose sleep over it. I would rather, if they're having a problem, if they can't figure it out, you know, they're going to find another place.
Yeah.
And so this actually happened to me the other night. The guests got to the condo. The combination code wasn't working. They couldn't figure it out. Airbnb. They called Airbnb. My phone was on silent because they were trying to check in at 2 a.m. I didn't, you know, so I didn't hear it ring. So Airbnb put them in another unit. I checked in the next morning. I apologized and said, okay, well, you know, now that my schedule open, I can rebook it. I would rather that happen than get a phone call in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock in the morning saying, hey, why can't I get in this unit?
Exactly.
So, you know, originally when I started it, I was available 24/7, and I lost a lot of sleep over it.
And you wouldn't advise anybody to do that?
You know, I don't think it. Nothing really. Like I do have in my listing that, you know, if there's water damage, call the front desk.
Yeah.
Because most of these resorts, if they're going to have to turn off the water anyway to the unit, and they're not going to just let the unit flood.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at water issues, they're going to call the front desk anyway.
Yep. All right, so moving right along, let's talk about legal and regulatory issues. Now, I'm going to bring up a hot topic. Do you think that short-term rentals are unfairly targeted by local governments? You know, I'll parlay into that by saying, you know, in the city of Myrtle Beach, there's a 1.5% tax that has to be paid for short terms. And then there's also for Horry County, another 1.5% tax. And then South Carolina, the state charges a 10% tax that if you rent on Airbnb, from what I understand, it passes through and the guests pay that.
Right.
So, you know, so kind of talk to me about, you know, the local taxes. What's your experience there? Have you had anybody, I mean, do you honestly feel like short-term rentals are unfairly, you know, gone after in our market, or?
I don't think about it much. I'm still making a profit, and I mainly rent through Airbnb. So Airbnb handle, like you said, they handle.
They handle all the taxes.
Yeah, so as long as I'm still making a profit, then that's all I care about.
Exactly, and I don't blame you. And that's a lot of the advice that I find myself giving a lot of investors. They'll call me on the phone and say, well, the HOA dues are really high, or what are taxes, or they're super concerned about operating costs. But Matt just plainly said, like, with his 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, he's making $40,000 a year in profit.
Right. And
who cares about $600 to a tax?
Right. And I've had a lot of friends who were hyper focused on the cost, not focused on what is the return, that they held off for years before they finally got into buying down here, and then they bought significantly more with the same issues.
They just got past the hurdle in their head.
Right.
And so what we're hoping that you're going to do is pick up the phone and call me, 843-360-1737, so that I can help you get past that hurdle, that initial investment hurdle. I had Jason King on, right? And he bought a $169,000 oceanfront condo. In his first 10 months, he made 11 grand profit.
Oh, wow.
He paid a special assessment too. He still cleared 11 grand profit, right? And he's like, I had all this money sitting, I had 50 grand sitting in the bank. He's like, I was sleeping good with knowing the money was there. But like, after he bought it and saw how much money he could make with oceanfront condos, he was like, shoot, I'm ready to buy another one. And he was on the channel saying the same thing, like, don't let fear hold you back.
Right.
Don't wait 3 years later and then all of a sudden you're paying $100,000 more. I had a guy who was looking to buy, an investor who was looking to buy pre-COVID, and he ended up buying with me a few years later, paid $100,000 more for the same unit.
Right.
You don't want to end up doing that.
Right. They're constantly appreciating.
They are. Yeah. And that's another excellent point. Oceanfront condos, many of them in our market have appreciated over 100%. In other words, if you bought it at $150,000, it's now worth $300,000. So, okay, kind of talk to me a little bit about any kind of legal. Have you had any legal issues with your oceanfront condo at all? Anybody take you to court? Anybody sue you? The government come after you? Any kind of crazy thing?
No, not at all.
What about HOA? Any kind of controversy with the HOAs? People are always harping over, oh, I don't want to stay I don't want to invest in an oceanfront condo. The HOA can tell me what I can do.
So the HOA is also there to protect, to protect your unit, make sure that the property's up to par.
The HOA makes value-added decisions when they're doing things properly. Right. I tell clients that all the time. I'm like, they're saying to me, well, it's $1,200 a month. It's $1,300 a month for the HOA fees. And I'll tell them, I'm like, the people that are on the HOA own at the actual resort. Right. They're not going to want to pay any more money than they have to pay.
Well, and not only that, if you have a problem with the HOA fees, get on the board and go over the HOA fees and understand where the money is going. And if you see somewhere that they can save money, do it.
Tell them.
Right, because overall they're getting bulk services, right? So the cable, the internet, the electricity, the water, the sewage, they're getting a better deal being together than you would individually.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And that's probably something I should start explaining. So they're buying all these services at bulk, the insurance and all that. You're not going to be able to get an insurance quote as cheap as they are.
Right.
Because they're doing it for 100 units as opposed to your one unit.
Right. So overall, like if they would eliminate the bulk services and let you pay for it yourself, you're going to be paying more than what your HOA is getting.
Yeah, it wouldn't be smart for you. The HOA is a very valuable thing. It is an asset in this circumstance. It's going to help you. It should help you more than hurt you. Now, do you foresee any more regulations in the future that could make it harder for short-term rental investors?
In certain states, yes, but in a town that strives off tourism, if they start, basically, if they start cutting out the short-term rentals, there'll be no business here.
Because basically our economy thrives off of tourism. We probably see, I would imagine, and this is just a guess, 70% of our local economy's got to come from tourism. It has to. So, I mean, I can only imagine, you know, could you imagine if they cut out tourism in Myrtle Beach?
Right.
We're the #2 vacation destination on the East Coast. You think people are just going to, you think the city's going to be like, no, we need to shut this down?
Right.
It's highly unlikely. In other words, I think that your investment is going to do well here, and it's most likely going to appreciate. In fact, the Myrtle Beach area for the last 3 years has been the fastest growing area out of the 150 most populated areas in the entire United States, according to U.S. News and World Report. You can Google it. We had over 90,600 people move here just last year.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have a year-over-year 6% average annual growth rate. We are, you know, I would imagine that your investment here is going to appreciate very, very well. Now, can we predict the future? No. Can we guarantee profits? No. At the same token, we can look at the historical data and see how well things have done and go, okay, you know, they're most likely going to continue on as they've been doing. Now, real quick, let's just talk real quick about short-term rental platforms like Airbnb and VRBO. Do you think that they're here to stay?
No.
Come on, tell me. Come on.
No, because all right.
You think Airbnb is going to be out of the picture in 5 years?
I don't know out of the picture, but they're going to have they're going to have competition. They are, you know, Google Vacation Rentals is rolling out their stuff. I use Hostaway for that reason, so to get me on Google Vacation Rentals. I get occasional bookings here and there through Google Vacation Rentals, but when people realize, hey, we don't have to go through Airbnb, we go through Google Vacation Rentals where there's no fees. Because right now with Airbnb, I think it's total 18% variance that you're paying, or you know, I think it's 15% through the guest and 3% to the owner,
the host. Yeah.
Right. So there's 18% there. Google Vacation Rentals is 0, and so you know, right now there's only a couple platforms on it. That's Hostaway is one of the platforms, but as things progress and more platforms get on it, it's going to get more popular. And that's the only way you can get on it is using these platforms to get on it, which Google Vacation Rentals, from my understanding, it makes their money from advertising, right? Like their Google ads. So they're not going to take out the little guys out of me. You know, like my pockets, or my guest pockets, they're making the money big time on the advertisements.
Advertisements, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Google Ads is a very viable advertisement solution for many businesses.
Right.
You know, so I mean, I think it's smart on their end. Now, my other question is, I mean, do you think that there's going to be any kind of like Airbnb, VRBO crash, like the market crashes?
No, well, certain areas, right? Depending on where, like, and you're seeing it. You're seeing it in like Arizona, and certain areas in Arizona. You're seeing it in certain parts of Florida. It's not that it's a crash. It's because those areas can build out, right? And so, like, they're not limited to the span of the beach, right? Where, like, you know, they can get oversaturated, and where places that were already short-term rentals, the only way they can get oversaturated is if we bring in a whole lot of skyrise resorts here, right?
Yep.
We can't. There's no more beach.
Yeah, exactly. So in a market like ours, where there's a lot of demand for a little bit of market area, you don't foresee any kind of crashes.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you mitigate risk during the off season when tourism declines? So, you know, in a vacation destination like Myrtle Beach, what do you do? You know, are you rented 12 months out of the year? I had a guy call me on the phone. He's like, you know, in Florida, I can rent 12 months out of the year. I'm like, you can rent 12. I mean, anyways, you can rent 12 months out of the year here.
I rent 12 months out of the year. I have a high occupancy rate. You know, but you're not making a profit in the off season. You make a profit in the on season. So basically, I really, since I self-manage, I don't have a bottom. Right, like I can keep dropping the price till I fill. Now, if I have to get down to $30, I get down to $30, right? You know, a lot of people don't agree with that, but in like January, you know, how else are you gonna get the snowbirds in? And $30 a night for a month is $900.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have that $900 for a month than to have
zero.
Zero.
Yeah, and it is going to add to your overall
Right. Multiply
revenues.
that by 11, and now there's $10,000 extra in my pocket that I wouldn't have if I had a bottom.
Exactly. So basically, you play the game.
Right.
In the off-season months, you drop your prices, you get people to book, you have nicer units, and the assets are there. The fixed costs are there. You might as well be making profit, or at least getting some kind of income in.
Right.
Now, talk to me about realistic figures for somebody investing in a Myrtle Beach oceanfront condo. What can they expect to make, like on a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom?
So, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. You're probably looking somewhere around $300,000 for the purchase, right?
Okay.
Put down 25%, so you're financing $225,000.
Okay.
So, payments, HOA, everything, cleaning fee. You're probably what, 40? Say 40. Let's round up. Say 50,000 in expenses a year.
Okay.
Right. My 2 bedrooms are netting, or they're grossing over 70. Depends on how nice it is. If it's really nice, almost close to, I'd say about 78,000.
78.
Right? So if 78,000 on a 2-bedroom, really nice 2-bedroom, right?
Yep.
Really one that pops, gets people to stop scrolling. You can make 78,000 on a 2-bedroom gross, and your total expenses are 50,000. Make over 20 grand.
28. It's almost $30,000.
Right.
Profit.
But it needs to be really nice. It needs to get them to stop scrolling.
That's it's got to pop. Okay. Pop. What about a 1-bedroom?
1-bedroom. So, I never really was a fan of 1-bedrooms until my secret sauce.
Until you figured out you can convert it to a 2-bedroom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So pulling out the living room furniture, pulling out the Murphy bed, make the Murphy bed area a closet. I did that. The unit that I did that on, I did on 2 units, but one of them already sold. But the other unit that I did that on, I think in the last 12 months, I think I brought in like $53,000 on it. Now my total expenses on that unit were, I think they were like 30. It might have been like $32,000 for the total expenses on that.
So we're talking about $21,000.
Yeah.
Profit.
Yeah.
On a 1-bedroom.
On a 1-bedroom. Yeah.
By converting it into a 2-bedroom. So you pulled all the living room furniture out, and you put a king or 2 queen beds in or something?
Yeah, I wanted to put a king bed, but actually one of the other homeowners here was giving away a free queen bed, so I put a queen bed in there. But I'm eventually going to put a king bed in there.
That's what's up. So, guys, very viable strategy, converting a 1-bedroom into a 2-bed, 1-bath, right?
Right.
Because on Airbnb, it's 2 beds, it's not 2 bedrooms.
Right.
Yeah. 2 beds, 1 bath. Very viable strategy.
Actually, Airbnb, I listed as a 2-bedroom. I make sure to put in the description, this is not a standard unit, right? This unit does not have a common area. This unit has 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. There's a door. They're shotgun style units, so there's a door that closes off to each one.
Yeah. Too easy.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about your own personal strategy. How long do you plan on investing? How long have you been investing? Do you buy one every year, one every 2 years? What's your strategy there, and what does it look like for you moving forward?
So, I don't know exactly what my strategy is moving forward. Right now, I'm just focusing on making these units look as nice as possible.
Yep.
But besides buying, selling, I haven't really thought much into it.
Yeah, you obviously own 11 units already. Do you have plans to buy more?
I don't know. And my wife wants to just she wants to just travel and enjoy the rental income, and that I quit spending.
Yeah, exactly. Happy wife, happy life. My dad always said that.
Exactly.
Okay, so is there a get rich quick narrative around short-term rentals? And is it mostly myth, or is it just promoted by influencers?
I mean, it's not get rich quick, right? Like you're not going to roll over one day and say, "Oh wow, I got $10,000 or $100,000 more in my bank account." But it's so before I started my mortgage company, I was working for a company, and I said, I don't care about raises. I make my own raises, right? Every time I buy an investment property, I just increase my salary by
there you
20
go.
grand a year. Right?
I think it's an excellent way to look at it.
Right.
Your your investment property is like an employee that's going to work for you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's something that you're going to have for the rest of your life. They can't lay you off, right, or anything else. So it's something that's yours.
Yeah, you own it. It's yours. All right, and then what's the best investment that you've ever made?
So I bought the 1-bedroom here at Meridian. I bought it for $47,000.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was pretty disgusting. It was abandoned. It was mold on the walls. The family didn't even know about it, and I guess until the dad there passed away, and there was mold on the walls, no flooring. The place was basically gutted. Bought it for $47,000, and I actually bought it with my IRA. And I moved into it for a month of the summer while I renovated it, and rented it. Did pretty good on rental for the next year, but then I sold it for $150,000.
$47,000 purchase price. Put what, maybe $20,000-$30,000 into it?
Oh, probably $10,000.
And sold it for how much?
I think it was $155,000.
Do you believe that that's a viable investment strategy, to buy a dated oceanfront condo, to remodel it, to show that it can make great gross rental income, and then to turn right around and sell it and flip it?
I mean, that distress, I think it's going to be hard to find distressed properties like that because they are getting scooped up quickly.
Really fast, because people do it all the time.
Right.
Yep. Okay, and then last question, what's the biggest failure that you ever had?
Biggest failure?
Yep. Buying, selling, investing. Where did you drop the ball and you were like, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that?
You know, I was thinking about that the other day, and I was trying to think, like, because any of the properties I've sold, I look back at them to see, do I regret it? I think the biggest failure I did, and I'm working on this now, is that property I bought in my IRA, right? So it was the greatest achievement and greatest failure at the end, because once I sold it for the $150,000, I pulled the $150,000 out and I bought 2 other properties, 2 3-bedrooms.
Yep.
So I got a pretty big tax hit.
You should have done it in a 1031.
Well, not a 1031 because it was an IRA. So,
okay, yeah, I got you.
So basically, I wasn't. But you can't finance in an IRA, right?
Yep.
So I saw 2 properties I really wanted. I pulled the money out. I bought the 2 properties. They both generated good rental money, but then I had to pay the taxes on the $155,000 because I'm not 55 or 60.
Yeah.
I wasn't of age. So I got a pretty big tax hit for that, but I made rental income.
Yeah, so you won, you lost, and then you came out winning because of the income it made.
Right.
Click the screen now to see the next part of the interview with Matt Freeze. Look at what's coming up next.
I just watched what properties we're booking for, and at that point I said, there's no way that it can't be profitable. I've thought about diversifying and buying in other areas. I can't find the cash flow that I'm getting here.
What would you say to yourself if you were a first-time investor and, if you could save yourself a year of time, what would you go back and say to yourself? For those of you interested in diving just a little bit deeper into Matt's experience and his expertise, I got a handful of questions that I'm excited about asking him. Matt, how did you get started investing in oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach?
So I actually met somebody in the Dominican Republic who was telling me how profitable it was. This was probably 10 years ago. And then shortly after I went on a cruise, and I met somebody on a cruise who I asked them what they did, and they said, I own investment properties. I said, well, what else do you do? They said, I own 14 investment properties. That's it. And that's it really intrigued me.
It obviously paid off following that advice, guys. You heard that yourself. He's been in the business, he heard about it 10 years ago. He's been in the business 8 years, and he's obviously doing well in the Airbnb short-term rental market here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So it doesn't take a blinding light to realize that this is the way to go, right?
Right.
Now, what attracted you to investing specifically in Myrtle Beach oceanfront properties?
After I met a lady in the Dominican Republic who was explaining to me how much money she was generating down here, I started watching Airbnb and I just watched what properties we're booking for. And at that point, I said, there's no way that it can't be profitable. And I just ran the numbers over and over again for almost a year. And that's what made me decide Myrtle Beach. Since then, I've thought about diversifying and buying in other areas. I can't find the cash flow that I'm getting here due to the cost to cash flow.
Yeah.
Right.
So basically, our oceanfront condos are some of the cheapest in the nation.
Right.
And as far as short term, so we're where you want to be.
Right.
Basically, I mean the profit's there. Like, I mean, I can't say it enough. Now, of course, we can't guarantee future profits, and yes, there are bad, investments that you can make that aren't smart and aren't good. Absolutely. However, when you work with a solid and professional broker like myself that's going to help you, we're going to give you all of the best information that we can gather for you so that you make a savvy and informed investment decision. You're hearing it right here live, guys. Now, what would you say to yourself? It took you a year to gather enough information, work up the confidence to take that plunge, right? What would you say to yourself if you were a first-time investor and, if you could save yourself a year of time, what would you go back and say to yourself?
Well, just do it. In those 2 years I did my research, the values went up. So that could have been extra equity in my properties.
Look at what's coming up next.
Literally made the plunge. We sold our primary house so we could buy our first one.
How do you assess the potential profitability of a Myrtle Beach oceanfront condo investment? As long as those pictures are going to pop.
Right. It's all about the picture. What finally, once I found a lender, two, I found a way to come up with the cash. I made the plunge.
Yeah.
And we literally made the plunge. We sold our primary house so we could buy our first one.
You hear that, guys? Right there. So, and it obviously paid off.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that would be a huge risk for a lot of people. But think about that. Matt was courageous enough to overcome the fear of, one, everything that could go wrong, and what if this, and what if that, and all that. And on top of that, he went even further to sell his primary residence so that he could break into the oceanfront condo investing game. And it has obviously paid off very well for you. Yeah. All right, guys, so let's keep rolling. All right, how do you assess the potential profitability of a Myrtle Beach oceanfront condo investment? So like when you start running those numbers and looking through things, what's going on? Walk us a little bit through your process.
So I guess I kind of, I look at the amenities, I look at the property overall. Overall, at this point, I feel like I can look at a property and just tell in the back of my head, okay, here's what I'll make a year on this. But it comes down to the amenities, the look of the attraction of the building. And
yeah. So basically, you're saying, and I'm gonna put this in my own words here. If the unit and the resort will show well on Airbnb and VRBO, then it's probably going to be a winner.
Right.
As long as it's got the right amenities, and then as long as it shows well, as long as it's updated well, it's got LVP flooring, it's got modern touches and finishes to it. As long as those pictures are going to pop.
Right. It's all about the pictures.
It's all about the pictures. So I mean, guys, we're making it simple and easy here. He's giving you the sauce right here. It's all about the pictures. Of course, you want to make sure that you have an oceanfront condo resort that has excellent amenities, because that's what the guests are looking for.
Right. When you look at the pictures, look at the resort. Is that somewhere you want to bring your family?
Bingo. Simple and easy way to help you navigate your own decision as far as which to buy in. Would I want to stay here? And now, and I'll also go back on the other side of that. Look at what's coming up next. Or you can buy an oceanfront condo for $96,000 on average. Now, my wife wouldn't want to stay there.
Right.
How do you manage multiple oceanfront condo properties in Myrtle Beach? What are the unique challenges or advantages of owning oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach compared to other locations?
Especially when there's big events, everything sells out.
There are oceanfront condo resorts in our market that lots of people that my wife would not stay in. Just going to be super honest with you. However, they are generating profit.
They are.
And there is an audience and a demographic that are renting those and that are happy all day long, and they're making money. Right. So I particularly know of an oceanfront condo resort. You can buy an oceanfront condo for $96,000 on average. Now, my wife wouldn't want to stay there.
Right.
She wouldn't. At the same token, they're generating at least 28, some 30. Anyways, at least $28,000 a year in gross rental income. I mean, where can you go and spend 96 grand and pick up a property that's generating $28,000? You're probably going to walk away with 12 to 13 grand in profit every year.
Right.
So you got to weigh what's going to be a good fit for you. And if you're first getting started, that might be a really good option for you. If you've got a limited amount of cash flow to get in the game, it's better to break into the game and start learning and get that ball rolling and moving in the right direction than to sit on the sidelines and not break in or have to save up more cash, and you're just losing out on equity that you could be building in your own oceanfront condo unit if you simply start with a cheaper condo that maybe you don't like, maybe you wouldn't stay at, but plenty of people are renting it out. All right, so how do you manage multiple oceanfront condo properties in Myrtle Beach?
I use HostAway and a great cleaning company and a couple great maintenance guys.
So you've built a little team.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
So, essentially, and so that's something that I'll be able to help you out with. That I'll get you in contact with great handymen, great contractors, and stuff like that. Make that process simple and easy for you. It is in part about building and surrounding yourself with the right people locally that can make sure that they've managed every aspect of that for you, and that you can just pick up the phone and go, hey, I've got an AC unit that's acting up, I've got a dishwasher that's broke, I got blah, 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 and they can just jump right in there and help you out. What are the unique challenges or advantages of owning oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach compared to other locations?
Unique challenges. There's a lot of them. And so there's a lot of competition, but there's still a lot of demand. And that's especially when there's big events, everything sells out. Yeah.
So, and we have multiple big events throughout the year. The Country Music Festival brings some of the largest names in country music here. You got the Myrtle Beach Marathon. We have over 90, some say over 100 golf courses in our market. Guys, the golfing traffic alone is probably tremendous.
Right. We had the best PGA first turnout ever for this past week.
Yeah, I mean, so we're not exaggerating here. Lots and lots of people. We have between 20 and 22 million tourists that visit for a variety of reasons every year. We got 2 different bike weeks that come. Am I missing any big ones?
This Truck Week, Mustang Week.
I mean, guys, there's so much stuff that goes on here. So
cheer competitions.
Competitions.
Softball.
Yep, softball. We got there's the huge North Myrtle Beach complex, the sports complex up there. Yeah. Anyway, so guys, there are lots of tourism hitting our market every single year. Our economy in large part is built off of tourism here. So basically, if you're looking for a smart move, your short-term rental properties in Myrtle Beach, while they have lots of competition, there is still such a heavy demand. And there's, in my opinion, there's a lot of oceanfront condo units in particular that have room for improvement. So, right. and that's the way that you're going to, climb that ladder on Airbnb. You're going to, you might pick up a unit that's dated and older, and then you just simply do a remodel on it, and you move it up that chain on that Airbnb ladder, so that you're not in the lower percentile, but in the higher, and you're still bringing in great money. So, all right. So competition, you'd say, is probably the number one factor as far as a challenge. And again, I've presented you with an easy solution, guys. You just want to remodel that unit so you can move up that ladder on Airbnb. How do you handle maintenance and upkeep of your oceanfront condos, especially considering the harsh coastal environment?
So the coastal environment doesn't affect too much. It does affect. I make sure I don't put any brushed nickel in any of the condos because that's going to rust.
Brushed nickel, you hear that, guys? He doesn't use brushed nickel in any of the condos because it's going to rust. Easy.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll put either black fixtures or I will put exterior fixtures in the property sometimes.
Wow, you put exterior fixtures in the inside of the property.
Right.
That's a smart move.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's real smart.
Besides that, I mean, the condo hotels and their AC units. The AC units, I definitely spend the extra cash. If your AC unit goes and you buy a new one, spend the extra cash to get a special unit that's made for the beach.
Yep. So he's giving you the sauce, guys. He's giving you the sauce. All right. So, and then, the coastal environment, I just want to throw this out here. People are always concerned with hurricanes in our market and stuff like that. Yes, we have hurricanes here. It's a very real thing. Yes, these are oceanfront condos. However, your HOA fee is going to cover the insurance on the property, which is going to cover the HOA fee's insurance is going to cover the external portion of the building. So, a large part of that stuff is all taken care of.
It's taken care of. And these buildings have been hit many times by hurricanes, and they've hung around. So They've been tested and proved.
They've got a great track record. So can you share any tips or strategies for maximizing rental income from your Myrtle Beach Oceanfront condos that you haven't shared so far?
So like you said, photos, the curb appeal. You want to renovate the units. 2 years ago, I would have said I would have just throw it out there and rent it. There was a shift after COVID. People have gotten pickier on how the units look. Before that, they were just renting. So make sure your unit looks nice. Make sure it has good photos. Make sure the photos somewhat match what the kind of looks like. Besides that, that's really all you need to do.
Too simple, too easy, guys. He's laying it out for you. He's giving you the sauce. So, all right, what are some common misconceptions that people have about investing in oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach?
Well, I think a lot of people are afraid of the competition. Almost everyone I've talked to, there's so many there, and there's no way you rent in the winter. I rent in the winter. I'm full.
Did you hear that? He's full in the winter. He rents in the winter.
All year.
There are snowbirds and retirees that are going to come and rent these units. Now, you want to make sure you have a washer and dryer. There's some things that you can do in the unit to make sure you can get long-term rentals, 30 days or more, 3 months at the time, however. But yes, people do rent units during the winter time during our non-peak season.
Right, yeah. So I'm full in the winters.
Yes, yeah. So common misconceptions.
Besides that, the number one thing I hear is the HOA fees, and everyone, once they see the HOA fees, they shut down, not understanding that it's totally irrelevant.
It's totally irrelevant. The tourists are paying your HOA dues if you do it right.
Yeah, I make enough money June, July, August to cover all my bills for the year.
Hold on. I've got to recap that. He makes enough money June, July, and August to cover his bills for the entire year.
Besides that, everything, the winter, off season, everything else, that's just extra cushion, extra money in the pocket.
We can't make this any more clear. And this guy is living proof right here. He owns 12 units. He's giving you the sauce, guys. All right, so moving right along, what advice would you have you faced any unexpected challenges or setbacks in your journey as an oceanfront condo investor in Myrtle Beach? And then how did you overcome those?
So the only setback that I can think of off the top of my head is really when COVID hit, and Myrtle, basically they banned short-term rentals. I thought, 12 units, this is gonna be it for me. It was right before summer. Luckily, they shut them down for 60 days, which we did qualify for SBA loans to cover those days. So
nice.
Otherwise, I think there were other options out there.
Yeah. So either way, you overcame those challenges, you weathered it, you got through it, and you're still doing great today.
Right.
Yep. What advice would you give to someone considering investing in Myrtle Beach Oceanfront condos for the first time?
Do it. Don't wait. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to about this years ago, and now the values have doubled since then.
Yep. I had a client who was kicking himself because he was looking at buying a unit pre-COVID. He didn't buy it. He ended up not buying it, and then he just bought it. He paid over $100,000 more. So guys, they appreciate, they're doing well, right, and they make money, and you can depreciate them. Lots of reasons and you save on your vacation costs. There's lots of reasons to own an oceanfront condo. Now, how do you stay up to date on market trends and regulations affecting oceanfront condos?
I'm in Facebook groups. A lot of the Facebook groups that I've actually created a Facebook group for almost every resort here, so there's a lot of talk out there. So I watch it.
Yep, absolutely. So Facebook is an excellent way. You can also get in, your HOA meeting minutes.
Right.
You can dive into those and find out what's going on, or you can just simply make friends with your neighbors at the units.
Right.
Get a few friends' names and phone numbers, stay in contact with them, chat with them, get the right information, get that inside information, which I feel like it's probably going to help you out best.
Right.
Yeah. Stay tuned, because in the rest of the video, do you primarily use platforms like Airbnb, VRBO, or both for renting your condos, and why? I mean, because basically that's going to give you access to people that will rent your unit. I mean, that you don't have to pay anything out for.
Here's the link to my website. Here's a promo code, and they're saving 10% by booking direct, and then another 10% using my promo code.
He's giving you the sauce. Can't say it enough. I mean, like, super simple, super easy, guys.
I try to be available, so when that perfect deal pops up, I can.
So do you primarily use platforms like Airbnb, VRBO, or both for renting your condos, and why?
So I'm on both, and Google Vacation Rentals. I'd say 95% of my bookings come from Airbnb. I think it's because of the type of properties they are. If they were houses, I think VRBO would outnumber it. But I'm on Airbnb, VRBO, and Google Vacation Rentals, and my own website.
You hear this, guys? Andy's got his own website set up. Smart move. I mean, because basically that's going to give you access to people that will rent your unit. I mean, that you don't have to pay anything out for. You don't have to pay anything to Airbnb or anybody else. So, I'm a huge advocate for creating a blog around your specific oceanfront condo unit and publishing some content and putting it out there and pushing it out there throughout the year, and running Facebook ads. Super simple to run a Facebook ad and capture people that are online looking, capture their information, that are online looking at, yes, a vacation rental in Myrtle Beach would be a good option for me and my family. So there are definitely, plenty of ways to generate, interest in your property that you don't have to pay out fees on Airbnb and VRBO.
Right. Every guest that when they check out, they get an automated message from me saying, if you ever want to return, here's a link to my website. Here's a promo code, and they're saving 10% by booking direct, and then another 10% using my promo code.
He's giving you the sauce. I can't say it enough. I mean, like, super simple, super easy, guys. He's showing you how to get repeat business and make more money next time. And it's a great service to them, which obviously is going to cause them to want to. I can save 10%. Great.
Right. I
want to rent his now. I don't have to go through Airbnb. All right. Can you walk us through your typical process for acquiring a property and making it ready for rental?
Yeah. So acquiring it, whether you have cash, some people will do either cash out finance or a HELOC on their home and go buy a property cash.
Yep.
Or you have a lender that can finance them with 25% down.
Yep.
And then for that 25% down, you can either, again, do a HELOC for the 25% down, or save up. What I did, sold my primary residence, or, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so there's lots of strategies for breaking into the game. But how do you identify a property?
So usually for myself, I look for a deal. I keep an eye out for a deal. Amazing realtor will find the deal for me.
Come on.
I try to be available, so when that perfect deal pops up, I can.
Now, when you say deal, are you looking for a dated unit that you can remodel? Are you looking for a unit that's already turnkey and it's just priced under market?
So it depends, because depends on the time of the year, depends on my availability. If I see a dated unit that they're eager to sell, they drop their price, and I have time, I'll scoop it up. I'll go in, I'll remodel it myself. I'll do all the work myself and basically get either ready, get it ready for booking or sell it.
Yep.
Or if I see a good deal on a turnkey that's been fully remodeled, jump on that.
Just jump on it. Just jump on it and get it. Now, you mentioned time of year.
Yeah. So so one of the things that is there's investment buying season. So there's certain times of the year where you're up against a lot of competition.
Is that during summertime or wintertime? Or?
It's wintertime. It's a lot of people are wanting to buy so that way they fall right into the spring, making their first mortgage payment from their first clients, first Airbnb guest. And also a lot of times that's when HOAs are announced and special assessments are announced, and sometimes people are offloading their properties and they want to offload them before
everything hits.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of times it can be advantageous for you as a buyer because, if they've owned the property for 5 to 7 years, it's appreciated, they've made money on it, and then they got all these special assessment hitting. You can come in and go, listen, I'll buy your property, but I've got to pay all these special assessments, and they're making money on it because it's appreciated anyway. So you can kind of haggle them down and be like, listen, I'll take it, I'll pay the special assessments, but I want to buy it at a reduced price. I want to get a good deal on this.
Right.
And they're just, it's paper money for them at that point. It's just appreciation.
Right.
So they're going, okay, great, yeah, I'll cut you a deal if I don't got to pay all these special assessments.
Right. That's usually.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the future of Myrtle Beach's real estate market, particularly for oceanfront properties?
So, I think it's going to get limited. I think a lot of the big guys like Hilton and Marriott, they're buying everyone out, they're knocking them down, and they're building big buildings because they see the profit. That it's a profitable area. Let's knock down these personally owned condos and put a big resort there.
Yep.
But they're not going to sell those. So now those people who owned in there, now they want to buy another property. Yep. Well, now eventually it's going to get to a point where it's going to be very limited real estate.
Wow. So now is the time to invest.
Right.
Get in now and own as much as you can.
Yes.
Wonderful. Let's get in unit 906. You'll notice nice LVP flooring right when you walk in. Great colors. There's 2 full-size beds, flat screen TV. Closet. It is a bathroom entrance here across the hall. We have another really nice setup here. We got full-size beds, 2 closets. Your bathroom, of course. You're noticing granite right there. Nice fixtures. Everything's modern and updated. That's what you want to see. You should have a washer dryer right here, as well as the HVAC system, as you can see. Granite countertop, stainless steel appliances. Everything is updated. Very, very nice. Now your master's here, but I'm going to take you into the dining room and living room first. As you can see, the decor is a big deal, guys. And it looks sharp, it looks modern, it looks trendy. This decor makes for great photos. This is your moneymaker, this nice, spacious, large balcony. As you can see here, you have a view of the ocean, a little bit of a view of the city. Master, again with 2 beds, flat screen, great decor, nice closet, and of course, tub shower combo, granite, nice fixtures. All right, guys, so we've got another video with Matt Freeze. Click on the screen right now and let's get the secret sauce.